What's going on? You were hanging out with Death Count. Welcome to part 5 of my room collection tour. So far, we have gone through everything in the display cases and on top of the display cases. We went through it all. Today I thought we'd go through what's on the right of the display cases. We should go through some of the art, some of the comics. And I call it, I call this room my collection room, but I could easily call it my nostalgia room, because that's what it really is, man. It's all about nostalgia. Let's start off with the comic books in the frame. Let's look at X-Men #1 from the 90s. Of course, Jim Lee. I got it signed by Jim in gold. Right there, I got him signed it. I believe it was at the last New York Comic Con, right? Like, I met Jim a bunch of times. So, meeting Jim is always a pleasure, man. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. And with this book, X-Men #1, I think if you are a comic book collector, I think just about everyone has this book, whether it's this cover or one of the other many covers of X-Men 1. And if you still don't have it now, I'm sure that you had it at some point in your life, right? Especially if you grew up, like in the 80s and 90s, man. Just about everyone had this book, man. It's a great book, amazing artwork. Right at this time, man, Jim Lee was pretty new, right? Like, first time I heard of Jim Lee, I think, was on X-Men 1. And this guy his style just blew up everything, dude. Everyone was like, holy shit, who is this guy? Back in the 90s, man. So, always loved this book, always loved this cover. And I'm glad I have it, signed by Jim. Let's move on to first appearance of a Hobgoblin, Amazing Spider-Man #238. I got it signed by Roger Stern. He even dated it. And I got John Romita Jr. I think I had John sign this in Puerto Rico last year. Or maybe at a previous con. Maybe it was at Midtown Comics. Roger Stern I got last year. Forget where, but dude, I go to a lot of conventions, man. Like last year I think I went to 6 or 7 or more. And I'm talking about not the local ones. I'm talking about traveling. You know, I go to Chicago, I go to Puerto Rico, I went to Canada, here and there. Man, I go all over the place. So I go to a lot of conventions. So I might not remember where I got the signature from, but they're all real, and there's no reason to lie. You know what I mean? So here we have first appearance Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and glad to own that, man. I've had this book since I was a kid, so just about every book I have here I've had since I was a kid, so... let's move on to the Erik Larsen cover, man. Like, this cover is amazing. And just to let you guys know, man, to me, it's not about putting the most expensive stuff on display here. Not even close, right? Like this X-Men book, dude, like you could find that book probably like $1 at a con or something, like maybe $2, right? Some of these books could be worth dough. I know, like, Hobgoblin, maybe around 100, I don't know, man, I don't check, but... The point is, not every book I have is going to be the most priciest thing, because it's not about cost. It's about how it makes me feel. And that's how I feel like, everyone's collection should be. It's about how their stuff makes them feel good, right? So here we have this amazing cover by Erik Larsen. If you don't know, Venom was created by Todd McFarlane. And, or at least he was the first person to draw him. And it was Erik Larsen who really invented that tongue flying out everywhere, right? Like everyone knows about Venom and its tongue. But it was Erik Larsen who gave him that first style, right? Like he made Venom a lot more nastier compared to McFarlane's. And I still love both, right? But I love this kind of Shakespeare cover, man. Got it signed by Eric, probably a New York Comic Con. I've seen him a bunch of times there. Right, so great cover. Here we have first appearance Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 361. I'll never forget when I got this book, dude. I got it when it came out, probably around 93-ish. For some reason, I do not know, but I was with my mom on Staten Island. And we went to this comic book store, and I wanted this book. I was such a Venom fan, and I wanted this book. I was probably 10. And the guy in the comic store told me to save this, that one day it's going to be worth a lot of money. And it's worth money. It's not worth a lot of money, but I love this book. I'll never forget when I got it. And I got this signed by Mark. Mark Bagley. Pretty dope, man. Always love this cover. Let's move on to another Mark Bagley cover. There's something about this cover I always love, dude. Like I said, always such a Venom fan, always a Carnage fan. And I think it was a part of like this female version of Venom that I really love, right, about this cover. So I just love, like maybe it's the colors with the red, blue, yellows, man. Something about this cover always popped with me. Always loved this cover, so got it signed by Mark there too. Let's move on. Here we have, trying to get rid of that glare. The artist name is Ash Gonzalez. I got this print on eBay. It is awesome, and I love Christopher Reeve. So when I first saw this print, man, I knew I had to get it, and I went on eBay, and luckily there was one available on eBay. So I was very lucky to find it, and it's perfectly fitting next to the figure there. So pretty dope, man. Love that thing. Here we have from the same artist, Ash Gonzalez, Henry Cavill from Man of Steel in the black suit. I could have got this in red and blue, but there was something about the black that really popped for me, especially with his facial expression, man. Like, I love the black suit. I'm hoping in Justice League he'll be wearing a black suit too. This I also got on eBay. I think there's still another one of these for like 40 bucks if you're interested. Moving down, this was from a gift. This was a gift from a buddy of mine on Instagram. His name is Mr. Iron Man. If you like his style, go check him out. He signed it and sent it to me. Like I said, I'm a big Chris fan and I love this piece. Let's move on here. Here's a very rare Frank Miller print. Dark Knight Returns, it says, but this artwork is done by Frank, and it is a variant cover that's on the DK3 book that's still out now. Got this in Toronto. Got it signed by Frank and signed by the inker Klaus Janson. I'm a huge, man, I could spend probably 20 minutes or more just talking about the Dark Knight Returns and Frank Miller. I'm such a big fan. I am. Probably Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns is my favorite variation of Batman. So I'm a huge Frank fan. I love all of his work, and I have so much other Frank stuff in this room that I'm just gonna skip now because I'm probably gonna talk more about Frank later. So let's move on. Here we have my first commission ever from Ken Lashley, very good artist. Here we have the Cyborg Superman, one of my favorite Superman villains, probably my favorite one, destroying the Eradicator. This inspired me from the story Reign of the Supermen, and it came out just insane, dude. I'm such a Cyborg Superman fan, dude. Right? Let me show you the other commission I got. This one I picked up in Chicago. Just incredible work, dude. And here we have Black Suit Superman when he comes back after being dead and destroys a cyborg. Fucking love Cyborg Superman so much, man. Such an underrated character. Right, let's move on here. Here we have a very special piece in my collection. Let's start with the writer Scott Snyder. He actually did a drawing for me. Didn't charge me anything, man. Like, we've been friends for a while now, and I really appreciated him giving me a quick Batman drawing. It came out fucking dope, right? Like, not bad for a writer. You know what I mean? He's not a professional artist. He's a writer. So Scott Snyder is such a cool guy, man. Like, first time I met him, when he saw that I had some tattoos related to his story, he told me he wanted to send me some comic books so that I will never have to pay any more of his books. So that was very cool of him to send me some of his books. Here we have, which is also very rare, man. I love this piece because not only because of the artist, because of what it means. Probably for years, man, I asked Greg Capullo if he can give me a quick sketch, and he told me he doesn't really do that, man. He stopped doing that for people for years, but I kept bothering him for years, and because he finally sees me as a friend, he did a quick Batman drawing for me, so that really meant a lot. So here, guys, we're meeting 10 minutes. I'm going to stop here. In part 6, I will continue. Thank you for watching. Talk later.